So welcome to today's video, and we are taking a closer look at the Paul Rubens set with the name Qiaomei watercolors. I've heard in another channel that Qiaomei means something like beautiful. I'm not sure if that's correct, but they definitely are. So I personally have named this set as Lost Pigment Set, and that is because it contains 5 colors which are made with pigments that aren't produced anymore. And we will take a closer look at that. You have this with the slightly pearlescent glittery plastic as a set with 24 half pans. And you get this set also in a tube version with 12 milliliter tubes. If you are after the video at the point that you say, yes, I want to buy this set, then I highly recommend buying the tube set. I don't know the prices in other countries, but at least in Germany, the sets nearly cost identical, the tubes and the pans. But a half pan has around 1.5 milliliter and the tube has 12 milliliters. So it is, for me personally, it is a complete no-brainer. You get for around the same money so much more of the color in the tubes. So that's the reason why. You have everything printed on the pans or the tubes. Infos about the pigments, the light fastness, the opacity, everything, the name, all is written in English as well. So it is easy for us to look at. I will do my swatches with the pen set. I've bought the pen set because at the time I've bought it in Germany, you couldn't buy the tube set. There was no seller, and even Amazon only had the set with the pans. That is the reason why I bought the set with pans, because I thought, okay, I want to have the set because of all the pigments that aren't produced anymore, which are in the set. And after a while, I found some sellers which also sell the the tube set and deliver to Germany, because that was the problem. I found a lot of sellers, but none of them delivered to Germany. That was the problem. So this set here with the half pans come with this big sticker, which I've just shown you, which contains all the numbers and names and stuff. You can have this little helper to remove the mixing tray, so you can easily put it under water and wash it. You could also use it to get the pans out, but they are really not so easy to get out with this little helper. I tried, but I thought, okay, it isn't so interesting for me to try it for the next 10 to 20 minutes. I've seen it, that if you are putting it upside down, then some of the pans will definitely fall out. So they aren't at least that hard to get out, even if I couldn't get them out at the moment. So, okay. I have called this set Lost Pigment Set. That is a name I gave this set myself, so that it is not an official name, but I found it very fitting for it because, like I said, we have 5 colors in this set which contain or are completely made of pigments that aren't produced anymore. Most of those pigments aren't produced for many, many years. So there are some pigments in it where the production stopped around 20 years ago or so. So that is definitely something special. I couldn't find any information if it is really a student grade or an artist grade set. I have seen others calling it a student grade set, and the situation that all the cadmiums and cobalts here are only hues and don't contain the actual pigment would imply that it is more likely to be a student grade set, but the quality of the paints are really, really awesome. So for the feeling how the colors are moving and working, I would say at least that they are somewhere in between those areas. So I would love to contact Paul Rubens, but I couldn't find an email address where I get a response, because the homepage that I found, you get the mail sent back to you, and the email address I found on the set itself don't reply. So yeah, if anyone has a contact information, I would love to have the opportunity to write with them to clear this and some other questions I have about the set. Because all YouTube channels I see where people get sent something from Paul Rubens, they are responding immediately and very fast, always. And yeah, so that's a little bit frustrating that I couldn't find any address for them. The first color here, I already mentioned, I think in the beginning, is the Chinese white. It's a PW4. It is rated with 5 of 5 stars. They have a 5-star rating system in the set, with 5 stars being the most or the highest in the light fastness. So this color here is called lemon yellow hue. It is 4 of 5 stars, and it is a PY 175. It is a benzimidazolone yellow, and this is definitely a light fast pigment. I have checked double all the pigments I don't know so well, just to be sure, because I've seen a lot of pigments are rated in even the best brands wrongly. So like, for example, Prussian blue or an PR 177, they are always rated as perfect light fast, and these pigments just aren't light fast. So that was something I thought I will have to check those pigments just to be really sure if the rating is correct or not. The second color here is called cadmium yellow pale hue. It is a mixture of the PY 175 and a PY 65. The PY 65 is an aurolite yellow, and this is also a very light fast pigment. So here the brand gives 4 or 5 stars. That is definitely a correct rating, depending on how the pigments are rated by itself. Then we have the cadmium yellow hue. They rated with 4 or 5 stars. It is also the PY 65 we have had in the color before, but in combination with a PY 97, that is a Hansa yellow. It is also a light fast pigment, so that's that. Then we come to our first super special color, and this is called here gamboge hue. And I have already done another set of swatches when I first unboxed this set in one of my Twitch live streams, and I will show you the swatches in the end, because the swatches of the gamboge is there much better. I just showed you the pans because what I realized is that they aren't completely filled. They are a little bit dented, and they came that way. That is not because I have used the set so much at that point. That is something to be aware of, but like I said, I would highly recommend buying the tube set. So back to the gamboge hue. It is made from the PY 153. That is a pigment that is not being produced for a long time, many years. And I have absolutely no clue where they found this stock of the color, but this and the other discontinued pigment gives me personally the opinion that this set, like it is only there for a limited time. When they ran out of those pigments, they either have to replace it with others or they will stop this specialty set. I don't know, but yeah, that would be something I would like to ask the company. So the PY 153 is a nickel dioxine yellow. It is rated on Handprint. It's a pigment database I like a lot, as a top 40 pigment. So one of the 40 best pigments. It is very light fast, and you can't see it here in this swatch, but like I said, in the end of the video I will show the other swatches and I will show you the close-up from each color. There you can see it perfectly. You can get this color from a very light lemony yellow to a very, very dark gold brownish color, and I have never had the pleasure to use like the original quinacridone gold. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube having still colors from Daniel Smith, and this is the most similar color I have used ever to those videos or pictures I've seen. So I can't 100% say it is very, very similar because I don't have a tube of or a pan of Daniel Smith, but it looks so similar, and that is the color that actually hooked me a lot with this set. And yes, I know there is a PY 153, a single pigment version in Sennelier. I think it is called Sennelier Yellow. I do have a tube of that. Bought it many years ago, but it is more like, it is not like this one. This one is a complete transparent version, and the other one is more like your standard lemon yellow, or like the first two, somewhere in between from the yellow shade, and more these semi-opaque yellows, which most of the yellows have. We have only very little yellow pigments that are completely transparent, and this version is the only version of PY 153 I know you can still buy from a major brand, because the only other companies using it, like Sennelier, they have this semi semi-opaque versions, and they don't have versions where you can get from this dark brown to light yellow colors, because their version is only one shade of yellow and no other. And there is a Schmincke color which you have a PY 153 combined with the other pigment, and this color is similar to the Sennelier one. So this one is a super special version. Okay, so the next colors are called cadmium red pale hue. It's a mixture of PY 65 and PR 255, which is normally used for cadmium hues, red hues. That is a pyrrole scarlet. This is very light fast. The second red was the cadmium red hue. It's a PR 149 and PR 255 mix. They are all numbered here, the cadmium red hues, all the three, with 4 or 5 stars. But I have to mention that the PR 149, that's a Perylene Scarlet, is, I researched it, and it is noted as a medium light fastness. So it could be that this one might lose a little bit of its color. Then the third is the cadmium red deep hue. It's a PR 188, a naphthyl arylamide, and it is very light fast in combination with a PR 254, which is a pyrrole red, also as a top 40 pigment on handprint, that is very light fast. Then we have our generic quinacridone rose. They call it here permanent rose. It's a PV19. That is one of two versions of quin pigments which are, in my personal opinion, best for primary magenta, either the quin rose or the quin magenta or quin pink, PR 122, is it? One of those two pigments. So I'm happy they included this one. They also rated this one with 4 of 5 stars like the other reds. So on this I'm swatching just now is another of the specialty colors. It is called alizarin crimson hue. Also mentioned with 4 of 5 stars, and it is PR 206. That is quinacridone maroon. And this color, this pigment comes in a red version and a brown version. You can still get the brown version from Daniel Smith. They seems to have a little bit of stock at least. But the red versions so far I only known from Winsor Newton, and they changed production immediately. They hadn't have any stock. So if you are really, really lucky, you have maybe a shop where they have some old tubes, then you may be able to get it when you don't have the red version. But this here is now the only way I know to still get definitely a red version of this quinacridone maroon, because they stopped production. I've heard this info in fall 22. So it is not stopped for a very long time, but like I said, the red version are, I only knew that Winsor Newton used it for their alizarin crimson hue in the Cotman and in the professional range. So yeah, it wasn't easy to get the red version before, and now at least yeah, you have the opportunity. It is a super, super beautiful color. I really love it. So I'm glad it is available at least a little bit longer for us. And the next one is also one of the special colors. It's a PR 88, Purple Lake, they call it. They gave it 3 of 5 stars. I think that is, so around 2 or 3 stars would be correct, because it has a mediocre light fastness. This is called, the pigment itself is called Thio Indigo, but it is part of the quinacridone pigments. So this is a pigment also which isn't in production for many years, so it is not easy to get. Some brands I've seen still offer some. I think I saw that the Da Vinci Paint Company also offer a color like that, where this pigment is mixed, I think, with another, if I'm not completely wrong. So yeah, it is a very, very beautiful violet color, I think. But that is the one color where the light fastness isn't really that good. So just to be aware of it. You can still use colors like that in sketchbook works or works you are knowing you will definitely put in a folder, in a drawer somewhere. Just don't make art with it that you will hang up on the wall, because there it will definitely fade partially. So the last color on this row was the cerulean blue hue. Nothing special here. It is just our PB15. They don't mention here white, but from the color and the little feel of opaqueness, I think they probably just used a little bit of pigment and the rest of some kind of filler to get this, instead of using a white pigment. I think the filler probably are cheaper that way. And the blue I've swatched just now is the Cobaltblue hue. It's a PW5 and PB29 mixture. So yeah, standard versions for Cobaltblue hue. That two colors are, for me personally, totally redundant in a set, because you have the pigments itself, you have a white, you could mix it like that. You don't need it. That would be used for a completely different colors, I think would be better used, but yeah, it is what it is. This was the ultramarine blue. It's our standard PB29. They are all of these 3 blues, and the next are rated with 4 or 5 stars. And the next is our PB15, also it is a phthalo blue. They call it intense blue, but it is a phthalo blue for sure. So with the lemon yellow, the permanent rose, and this intense blue, we have our primary triad. So that is always something I take a look at, because this is, for me personally, always a reason if this set would be if the set is possible to use as your first and only watercolor set. If you don't have any watercolor at all, could you use it as a starter set? And yes, you could. You have warm and cool primaries. You have a perfect primary triad here as well. So you have a highly versatile set as it is. I think the color choices are very good. Exception are those two cerulean blue hue and cobalt blue hue that are a little bit redundant. I would prefer if they have swatched one of those, for example, for an ochre. That is a color I am missing in this set. For me personally, to say as a starter, to have all the basic colors, that would be perfect if they have swatched one of those for ochre, for example. I also don't need a white, because I rarely use any whites. So yeah, but I know some people like to use white. That's totally fine. Never let yourself tell by someone that you aren't allowed to use any special colors like white or black. Do whatever you want. It's your art. I can only say I personally don't need a white. So this color here is called indigo, like sepia, for example. That is a pigment where all the brands are using hues. That is the reason why they don't use the word hue anymore, because the original pigment isn't used in all the major brands. You only find the original one used by some hand artisans. Where you can buy handmade paints. They use here a combination of PB15, PBK7, and PB29, so phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, and a carbon black. So we have a perfect light fast rating here for 4 or 5 stars. That is something I always look at indigo, because some companies are using synthetic indigo. That's PB 66, and like the original indigo pigment is the synthetic version is also non-light fast. So some companies use the synthetic version, or in combination synthetic with other. So that is something I always look at, because there is always the chance that this version isn't that the indigo in your set or in the brand you are maybe buying is not light fast. So that is something to be aware of, but here we are perfectly safe. So now this green I swatched just now, and the next one I will swatching now. Those two have our last pigment in it, which is not produced anymore. So the first one is called sap green. Very, very beautiful green, like it a lot. This is a mixture of PG36, that is our phthalo green yellow shade, and PO49, that is our original quinacridone gold. The pigment is probably, I don't know, are it already 20 years out of production, or even longer? It is for a way, let's say it isn't produced anymore for a very long time. Sadly, it was in the time where I was only using Copics, so I've missed to stock up on this pigment. And I have only colored mostly with Schmincke before, so yeah, before that time. So yeah, very, very sad. If I could change my past, that definitely would be something I would change to buy some tubes of Daniel Smith because they have it had the production going much longer on their Quinn Gold because they have stocked up a lot. So on the second green is called Hocus Green Light. We also have here the PO49. We have PB15 phthalo blue and a PG7 that's a phthalo green blue shade. And the last green here is called Emerald, and it's also PG7 mixed with a little bit of PY 175. I don't know because from the color itself it looks very standard phthalo green. But I was surprised when I looked up that there is a yellow in it, and I don't know why they have done it. Probably, I don't know, maybe the yellow pigment is a little bit less expensive than the phthalo green. Sometimes they do things like that to save a few cents, but in the masses they produce, it probably makes a difference for them. I don't know. So this is called burnt sienna, and with burnt sienna we have two standard versions. We have the version we are seeing here, made with the PR 101 transparent red iron oxide. The PR 101 is the synthetic version of the red iron oxide pigment, which comes in many different shades. And one of them is this transparent version. The other version would be a PBR7, which is a natural brown iron oxide, but that one is a little bit more expensive than this iron oxide pigment. So that's the reason why in most student grade paints you will find the PR 101 burnt sienna version. So this one here is called no, sorry, that is the raw umber. It is a mixture of PBR7 and a PY42. The PY42 would be the synthetic version of the yellow iron oxide, and I guess they probably mix it not only for the shade itself, because you get PBR7 solo pigment versions looking like this color, but probably because this also is cheaper than the PBR7. That is a color I hate a lot, especially when it comes in hues like this. It just looks like diarrhea poop for me from the color, and that's yeah, I don't like it, but that's only my personal preference. I know there are a lot of people loving raw umber, but I really don't like it. So this brown I've swatched just now is a Van Dyke brown. Here as well, we don't have Van Dyke brown hue because the original pigment is hardly used anymore. I do have a version of Shinhan PWC. Their Van Dyke brown is made with the original pigment. It would be an N for natural pigment, NBR8, natural brown 8. But this one is also non-light fast at all, so that's why most of the brands have switched to hues, and this one is made of PR 101 and PBR 7. The next color is the burnt umber, and they have two pigment version here as well, PBR 7 and PY 42. I personally love it when they are making solo pigment PBR 7 burnt umber, but funnily, some of my most favorite shades of burnt umber from some brands are not single pigment versions, even when if I could get the same color shade from another brand with a single pigment version, then I would prefer the single pigment version because single pigment colors are more versatile in the area of as a mixing color. So the last color here is called Ivory Black. It's a PBK 9 Ivory Black. Normally I don't like the color because it's a warm black and I don't like my blacks warm. I like cool or neutral blacks. luckily for me, this one is very, very low on the warmish side, so that's probably the best ivory black I've ever had in that department. But it is important to know for everyone who is vegetarian or vegan that this color, the PBK9 pigment, is made from burnt animal bones, so that is definitely a non-vegan color, and the set therefore is not vegan. So just to be aware of. I know some people are looking that they don't contain any animal parts in their paint, so that is important to know. That is also a reason why I always have problems with pre-made sets, because most times sets like this contain an ivory black. They hardly ever use other. There are only a few sets which use other black pigments. So sadly, I don't know why. Probably because it's very cheap. So here you can perfectly see what I meant with you get it to goldish, very dark, brownish shades with this yellow pigment. That's, yeah, totally hooked me up, this pigment. Here you can also see the other two ones, the PR206 and the PR88, which are also not produced anymore. You can see a little bit better here the granulation from the ultramarine. Here we have the PO49 greens. And yeah, also you can see that the Van Dyke brown has a nice granulation as well. Yeah, this is the set. And it was, for me personally, important that I don't wait to do this review video in summer or whenever, because I don't know how long they are able to produce it like that, because we have 5 colors containing discontinued pigments. They have a limited stock. They can't have an unlimited supply. So like I said, either they stop producing this set when they ran out, or they switch to similar pigments. So if you are interested, or if you are a pigment nerd or pigment collector, that is definitely a set which I personally can highly recommend. And like I said, if you are able to get your hands on the tube version, I highly recommend to buy this one, because you get for the same price so much more color than in the pen versions. Yeah, I hope this was interesting and helpful. And like always, a thumbs up or a follow would be highly appreciated. It helps me and the channel a lot. And yeah, hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.